In this video, I'm going to describe to you the absolute fastest way to retire early. What I wish I would have done probably at age 18. And what I did do, and what was a waste of time, and what was not a waste of time. Because the last, let's say 12 years of my life, between going to college, going to dental school, opening my own practices, multiple of them, the last 4 months is the only period of time that I thought that I had really nailed it. Because the last 4 months I have been heavily investing in real estate and now am retired early. A little bit more about that later, but yeah, I have enough income coming in just from real estate to where I could live in Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, all these really amazing places that I love, and not have to ever work a day in my life again if I wanted to. And none of that had to do with going to school, getting a degree, all that crap that they tell you should do. Really, it's just the last 4 months of closing 4 deals, which is a total of 40 hours of work, let's say about 10 hours per deal. And if you look at one of my other videos, there is a breakdown of how long it takes to close a deal. But we're not going to go into that. Just know it's about 10 hours of your time. So here's what I would do. Let's say you're 18, or you've got the mindset of an 18-year-old, and you want to retire early. Um, I would, obviously depends on your situation, but I would try to see if I could stay at home and pay my parents minimum rent or no rent and see if I could live out of their basement or my room or whatever it is for just a couple more months. And I would focus exclusively on finding someone that was willing to invest money into real estate. And if I can't find anyone like that, and I would know pretty quickly, so I would try to go on different Facebook groups. I would reach out to all of my acquaintances. I would try to find some money in that form. If there is zero luck in finding money for real estate to invest in it, and obviously I'm 18-year-old, so it's a little bit harder to show that I'm a credible real estate investor and you should trust your money to me. Um, then what I would do instead is get a job as a plumber. And I wouldn't work for anyone else. What I would do is I would open my own plumbing business and I would advertise heavily for essentially emergency plumbing because you can get thousands of dollars for doing emergency plumbing. When someone's house is kind of flooding and all you have to do is show up, shut down the main water valve, and replace a broken pipe or a couple broken pipes, people will pay out the nose for that. I mean, plumbers can make as much money as a dentist. And depending on where you are, depending on how small your city is, depending on the local rules and regulations and the state rules and federal and all that stuff, you might not need to be a licensed plumber necessarily. And if I had my house flooding, I would not give a shit, literally and figuratively. If you had some sort of license on it, I would just say, stop the house from flooding. It's terrible. I need someone right now. You can't always get someone. The plumber might be like, that's going to be a couple hours and it's going to cost you this much. Well, I would undercut them in price because it's still a lot of money. Get cash, um, and just be a plumber. As lame as that sounds, there is no prestige. But you know what? It takes all of a few YouTube videos, probably, to be able to fix a leaky sink, or a toilet that's not flushing, or a cracked pipe, or just the number of things that plumbers can do. It's not rocket science. Yes, you will have to watch a few hours of YouTube videos to figure this out, but that would absolutely be what I do, because you could basically shortcut the 8 years that it took me to become a dentist and make about as much, which is ridiculous, and I kind of wish I would have done that myself, but I didn't. Um, I would start with that. And with the plumber's income, within probably 6 months, if you can't find anyone that doesn't trust you with the money, in 6 months easily, you'd probably be able to buy a few houses cash. And if you make them Airbnbs, then you can write you can do bonus depreciation against your plumber's income and pay zero in taxes that, for that 6 months, or maybe even more. If you end up being able to knock out a year of work, then you could buy several houses in Cleveland, Ohio for cash, because each house is about, oh, I don't know, 33,000, 35,000, $40,000. I bought mine for any of those. 33 per unit's the lowest I've ever done, and probably about 40 is the highest I've ever done. And some of those were duplexes. I actually bought one in Toledo. It's $45,000 for a duplex. So that's basically actually, you know, that's only 22 and a half $1,000 for one side. So you could do lower as well, and that was actually a pretty good deal. But yeah, that's what I would do. And pretty quickly, with the plumber's income, you would have a whole bunch of houses within a couple of months. And remember, closing on a deal, real estate deal, it's 10 hours. So you're doing plumbing work and 10 hours extra on maybe like, after hours or on your weekends or lunch break or whatever it may be. And all of a sudden, a real estate portfolio within a few months to a year just kind of pops up, and you have already probably enough passive income from the first 2, 3 deals to retire, within the first, I don't know, let's say 6 months or so, just to be on the safe side. And I'm expecting here that you're eating ramen and not buying a bunch of fancy stuff, not going on expensive dates, not buying a new car, because that's always going to slow it down. You need to basically exclusively focus on real estate. This is, such a good plan. I'm considering telling my little brother to do this because right now he's my dental assistant, but once I sell my offices real quick, it'd be nice if he could join me, and he could totally do this too. So I'm probably going to help him, and maybe I'll share this video. So this one's for you, Ballant. That's probably what I would do. And once you have a portfolio of houses and you're like, well, it took me, 6 months, 8 months, a year to get to these 4 or 5, whatever many houses that I'm able to knock out in that much time, I would then probably get onto a couple different forums, get on Facebook groups, get on Reddit or investment groups or whatever, maybe start a YouTube channel, and start soliciting people to invest with you and show them your portfolio of real estate that's making money. And honestly, it's not very hard to make money in real estate, so your portfolio is probably going to look pretty damn good, uh, even though this is basically your first time investing. So my first house that I got, I paid 40 per unit, and I will probably never pay 40 per unit ever again. And that would be basically a bad deal. But guess what? It still collects $1,400 in rent every single month. It's a duplex, 700 each side, and it just makes money. But I could have made more money, by getting more units for a lower price, basically. And even those units that I got in Toledo, Ohio for 22,500 per side, so 45 for the duplex, that's going to make me, about 650 per side. So you're really making a lot more money on those particular deals as compared to my very first deal. And if you invest in Cleveland, Ohio, you're probably not going to lose. Make sure you're buying a cheap house, and make sure you're getting an inspection. Inspection costs like $300. And if you basically don't pass inspection and are not happy with what things are going to cost to repair, then so be it. You lost $300, but you saved yourself several thousands of dollars, and probably the next deal is going to pass your inspection. I would just basically have what I'd probably do is I would have the real estate agent walk through first, and they will tell you if they see any major issues, and get as many pictures or videos as you can from them. And if it kind of passes that preliminary inspection, I would then go to a home inspector and have them start their inspection. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours in, I would have a contractor show up and have the contractor talk to the inspector. And the contractor will ask, hey, inspector, what did I miss? Inspectors say you missed these things. Contractor gives you a bid for everything. And then that list goes to you. In that list from the contractor, you then decide, do I want to pay $600 to replace the toilet? Or am I going to have a toilet with a difficult to flush handle? That's a decision I had to make. And I said, let them push that handle a little harder. Do I want to get a new roof? I decided, yes, I will get a new roof. And basically, I've only ever had one inspection come back where I was just like, the money I need to put into this at the position that we're in right now is just not going to be worth it. And so I had only one deal fall through after the inspection. But you know what? I'm very happy. I only paid $280 for that inspection. That I got that inspection done because it saved me basically 70 grand put into the wrong building. So that building probably wouldn't have made me a lot of money with those not so great tenants in there and just the whole shit show that was basically. And I had a great inspector and he helped me basically the entire time and suggested that I just walk away because he hadn't seen, building in this pool repair in a long time. And he said, as a first time investor, you would be biting off too much. So make sure you find an inspector that you can really work with, that you can rely on, that's trustworthy. Anyways, that is it for this episode. If you want to see more and you've watched it this far, clearly you're interested in retiring early, and you can totally do it in just a matter of a couple months. If you'd like to see more content and if you want me to stay motivated and bother posting this content, please subscribe. That's what helps me keep going because I'm retired and I don't have to do this. So I might not. Um, Anyways, this is Dr. Travelness signing out and reminding you to plan and execute because dreaming is for losers.